UK Z-Day, Part 9, Remnants. I slept lightly that night after John took over the watch. I woke up once or twice thinking I heard something banging on the door. We were up about 9. John's watch ended at 6 and Ty took over. Sky was already up, sitting on the bed. "You hungry?" I asked. "No." "Thirsty?" "No." "Okay." Our clothes had dried from the night before and she had already gotten dressed. "Can we look for my dad today?" "Well, let's see how it goes," I said. "But I think you should stay here for the moment. It's not safe out there." She nodded sadly and pretended to go back to sleep. I sighed and went back to my room and turned on the TV. Society is breaking down. A few channels, mainly those further north, are either not on or showing constant repeats. Electricity, water and internet are still up, though I looked at our food supply. We haven't even started on it yet. We managed to scavenge a few things on the way to the last stand yesterday, but none of us have any real appetite. "Guns," John said. "What?" I replied, only half interested. "Guns. There's a gun shop around the corner." I told him that there is no gun shop in this town. "Well, there is though." He showed me a site on my laptop. "Country wear and firearms." I looked at the address. It was only around the corner. "It's too dangerous," I said. "That is the first place everyone is going to go, and the people that own the store have a lot of guns, probably want to keep their guns and won't think twice about trying to blow our heads off." At that moment Toby called, and he was again put on loudspeaker and the argument continued. "Even when we get there, the place could be locked down, shutters closed. How will we get in there? Do you have a pair of bolt cutters handy? The guns are all probably in cases. Well, we can smash the cases. But what about the people already over there with guns? Do you know how to fix a bullet wound?" This silenced everyone. I walked over and looked out the window. There were 5 Vipers outside. I quickly ducked back down and put the shutter back. "Well, what do you want to do, then?" John asked. "Get a car, get more supplies." Toby asked if he was moving to his flat. "Not yet," I said. "But if we can get a car, we always have a getaway option." "Where do you want to get supplies from?" John asked. "Cotswold. It involves going into town, and even though it's close, I don't want to lump the stuff back by hand." None of the people in our group had a driver's license, but Toby and John knew what they were doing, and I have an idea. John, as the most experienced driver, was elected to get behind the wheel. Now to find a car. It didn't take too long to find, literally in the next street. Me and John had headed out the back, nothing saw us, and we took up a quick jog. Within 100 metres we found a green Ford Fiesta Ecocentric. Great MPG, 4 doors, and they did an awesome test with it on Top Gear. The driver's side door was open, like someone had jumped out and left in a hurry behind them. We could hear the monsters groaning as they made their way to what they hoped would be their first meal of the day. We approached the car, John on the driver's side, me on the other. I peered into the back seat. Nothing there. Keys were still in. John also checked the car. We got in. Keys were still in. Almost a full tank as well. I climbed in and John started her up. I stopped him from pulling out. "Are you mad?" I said. "What?" "Put your seatbelt on." "Oh yeah, just in case we get stopped by the police." My mind flashed back to the officer from last night. A wave of guilt rolled over me. John pulled his seatbelt on and we headed to pick up Toby. The drive to the store was uneventful. apart from the shouts and smashing the glass. John wanted to stop at the store he insisted had guns, but we stopped with a plan. Survival equipment first. We pulled up outside the store. Well, it's less of a store and more of a landmark. The store is an all-stone building with five Romanesque pillars at the entryway, holding up a roof that was also very Roman-looking. It's what you think a Roman temple would look like, but now it's converted into a Cotswolds outdoor survival place with a small cafe at the front. The store was spread over 3 floors. First was women's wear, second was men's, and third was survival equipment. The plan was simply me and Toby would head in. Toby would head straight for the women's for some clothes for Sky. Then he would head upstairs to join me in the search for equipment. Whilst this was going on, John would loop around the block and wait for the signal to park up. We didn't want our ride getting swamped or stolen. We stole it first, after all. Me and Toby got out and we could see a buzz of activity inside, people shoving and rushing to get what they could. We made our way in. The alarm was going off for obvious reasons. Someone had thrown the cafe table outside through the window. Not that anyone was going to respond to the alarm, apart from them. I headed straight upstairs, trying to avoid the most crowded parts. Upstairs was a little quieter. I pulled out my list and began to pile up everything we needed. Suddenly there was a hand on my shoulder. I knocked it away, rolled, and pulled out the baton. So he burst out laughing. "Shut up, you arsehole. Help me find what we need. What's left on the list? Lantern, stove, fuel, and a couple of hand axes." "What have you been doing while I was downstairs?" "Hey, up your arse with a piece of glass," I replied. "Oh yeah, you'd like that," he retorted. "Piss off." We quickly found everything we needed. I ran off and grabbed some heavy-duty shopping bags, and we bagged it up and called John to let him know we were ready to be picked up. We headed down the stairs, and Toby was in front of me. A lanky man walked over to Toby and proceeded to try and snatch the bag out of his hand. Toby held it firm and proceeded to tell the man what he thought of him. He responded by punching Toby in the face. I walked over to the man, extended the baton and smashed it straight into his kneecap. He collapsed in pain. "Get your ass up and let's go," I said to Toby. We grabbed our bags and got to the car. A few Vivans were in the area now. John had obviously taken one down, judging from the splatter on the windscreen. We put supplies in and drove off as we turned a corner. I told John to stop the car. The man was on the floor, bleeding from a wound to his throat. Next to him, an overturned shopping trolley full of boxes. I jumped out and grabbed as many of the boxes as I could manage and got back in. "What have you got?" John asked. "Mobile phones," I said. "Ah, sweet. Have you got the latest iPhone?" "You mean that they brought out another one?" "Fuck me, John. What's wrong with you?" "Yeah. Has the new one got a new picture on it or something?" "God, you're old," he said. "Piss off." I laughed. We stopped in a parking area reserved for permit holders only, although I doubt we were going to get clamped today. We were a couple of 100 metres away from the house, so the things wouldn't be attracted to the noise. We got out and lit up our cigarettes, discussed the next move. The obvious thing to do would be to move all our supplies and ourselves to Toby's flat, but I didn't want to do this just yet, with the building still full of people and the possibility of them trying to steal what we had acquired. This was a real possibility after what had happened to Toby in the store. John still wanted to go to the gun store. This led to another argument that led to shouting, which was interrupted by mines not too far away. This snapped us back to our senses. We agreed that everything we'd gathered today would go back to Toby's flat, with the exception of Sky's new clothes. We would remain in our own place and pack everything up for removal. A group of about 30 undead rounded the entrance to the parking area. "I'm getting out," I said. "Are you mad?" John replied. "Look, you're going to need to unload all this stuff. You can't do that with those things hassling you. I'll distract them while you unload the car. Then, when you're done, park it somewhere safe and head back to the house. He nodded and I climbed out, looking at the group of monsters. John drove off and I extended the baton and walked slowly towards them. I started shouting, making sure I had their full attention. The group made their slow advance on me. I skirted the outside edge, smacking any stray hands that came my way with the baton. I was behind the group now, and they were slowly turning back to face me. I led them down the hill, further away from the house, stopping occasionally to let them catch up and yelling the odd insult. Not that they could understand it, but it made me feel better. When we reached the base of the hill, I sprinted back up, passing the creatures, heading back through the parking area, calling it time to open the back door. I was out of their line of sight when I entered the back gate and headed into the house. I locked the door behind me, and Sky ran up to hug me. "Hey, you missed me?" I said. She nodded. "I have a present for you." I took off my backpack and pulled out some of the clothes Toby had got, jeans and fleeces mainly, but she seemed happy and ran off to change. "How'd it go?" Ty asked. "Place is going to hell," I said. "Toby and John are taking the supplies to the flat, and we're going to start packing up here soon to move over there." I rang Toby and surprisingly got an answer. "I thought you and John would still be unloading." "No, we finished 10 minutes ago," he said. "That's weird. John's not back yet." I hung up on Toby and called John. It rang, but no one picked up. I called 5 more times. I texted saying if he didn't reply I was going to kick his ass. Still no reply. 2 hours later, midday. John still isn't back. No response on his phone. Sky asked me where he is. I told her he's out with Toby, but I think she knows I'm lying. Where the hell is he? The news is not much of a distraction anymore. Evacuation centres are being set up all around the country. They're advising everyone to go to the nearest one immediately. We won't be doing that. This thing has gone too far already to be stopped. I'm tempted to head out and have a look for John, but as I went to leave, Sky pulled me back by the arm, saying she didn't want me to be lost out there with the dead too. For now we wait. If he's not back in 2 hours, I'll head out and look for him. Part 10. Coming soon. Search and rescue.